Metro TV, 30 seconds. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. This is the regularly called meeting of the Public Works Committee of Metro Council. This meeting is being held pursuant to KRS 61.826 and Council Rule 5A. I'm joined in chambers by Councilman Ken Herndon, Councilman Kevin Bratcher, Councilman Stuart Benson. Do we have anybody online?
Yes, sir, we do not.
Councilwoman Jennifer Chappell, and my Vice Chair, Shamika Parrish-Wright. We're going to take the agenda in backward order. Sorry. It'll end up giving you the most time. We've got a couple of pieces of legislation to address, and we'll call number 3 first, R-110-25, a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept $800,000 from the U.S. Department of Transportation and Federal Highway Administration for the Safe Streets and Roads for All SS4A grant to be administered by the Department of Public Works and Assets. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Motion and second. I have properly forwarded motion before us. Do we have someone to speak to this?
Hi, good afternoon. Claire Yates, Transportation Planner and Vision Zero Louisville Program Manager with Public Works, Department of Transportation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have anything you wanted to say about it?
Yeah, so this is a federal grant that we are doing an 80-20 match on. The grant is for 2 full-time staff employees for up to 2 years. We think it's a really good deal. 1 staff member will be housed within Public Works Department of Transportation. They'll be a transportation planner, and they will manage our safer speeds strategy of the safe system approach, that kind of that wheel that I like to talk about. And then the other employee will actually be in public health. So this is kind of a cross-disciplinary approach. And they will be an epidemiologist, and what they're going to do, which is really exciting, I think, is create what's known as a data linkage program. So basically linking collision reports with EMS run sheet data, as well as trauma registry data from university. Maybe even get peds in there too with Norton Children's. They're a really good partner as well. And so we can start to see like the full life cycle of a crash. So not just looking at the collision report, but also how quickly did EMS arrive? Did they require a whole blood transfusion, which EMS thankfully offers now. Pre-hospital blood program just rolled out this past spring. And then looking at, on the trauma side, partnering with U of L Health, and like I said, Norton Children's as well, to see what those public health outcomes are long-term for those crashes.
Do you have any questions on the motion? Councilwoman Chapel.
Thank you so very much. So it's an 80-20 match. And so the government, I'm hoping, is doing the 80, or I'm sorry, I should specify which government.
Sure,
The
yeah,
federal
the feds,
government
yeah.
is doing. So is that going to be, we're responsible for $160,000 on top of that?
No, 800,000 from the feds, 200,000 Metro.
So $1 million
Mm-hmm.
for 2 employees for 2 years?
It was supposed to be 5 years, but then the program management office headquarters and for Federal Highway Administration cut it from 5 years to 2 years. We talked about it, and ultimately we decided that it would still be valuable to do that. Remember that this is a reimbursement grant, so realistically, we're not going to get close to the 800,000 on the federal or the 200,000 Metro. But those are kind of, think of them more as our caps. A little bit of a bright spot, though, is we do get to charge for fringe benefits, which for non-hazardous is about 49%. So, so we do get to, Metro does get to recoup that cost as well.
Sure. Do you know what the salaries of these jobs are going to be? Like you said, it was reimbursement, but why 2? If we're getting $1 million, why not 4?
Because that's what the grant agreement was originally for, and so that's what we have to stick with. I don't think that we could move the goalposts on them now.
Thank you.
You done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I thought I understood you, and now I'm confused. So the 800,000, the grant that was the basis for the 800,000 was based on 5. You've decided you could do it with 2, kept the money at a total of $1 million,
Yeah, they just.
but you're not going to spend it all. Fair question, how much are we going to spend? Mike, so do we have an answer for that? And then I have a second question.
Sure. So, so instead of 5 years for each staff person, that would be 2 years for each staff person. So 2 employees for a total of 2 years. Realistically, we're thinking around 600,000, including that fringe benefit rate of around 49%.
So 150,000 loaded per person.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we don't have an exact figure on the salaries that we'll pay. Obviously, we want to be competitive, particularly when you're trying to attract someone and they know that the clock is ticking on their position as well.
Well, that was my second question. They do know that at the end of the 2 years, it's not going to be extended. Is
Yes,
that right?
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be written into their contract.
Okay,
So HR tells me.
okay.
I'm not as well versed.
Any other questions on this? All right, this calls for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We'll go on to the consent calendar. Item number 2,
Thank you.
an ordinance amending Chapter 156 of the Louisville Jefferson County Metro Government Code of Ordinances, LMCO, relating to the maintenance of sidewalks. So I know I'm the sponsor of this one. Oh, do I have a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion and a second properly before us now. I know I'm the sponsor of this one, but I'm hoping we have someone from Public Works to speak to it.
Hi, good afternoon, Jennifer Commissar, current Executive Director of Public Works. Here to speak on the sidewalk ordinance. I'm also supported with staff from the Jefferson County Attorney who also worked on this and would be able to explain more of the legal side of it. But essentially, there were changes to sidewalk ordinance in the past, and there needed to be some clarification on what exactly was intended.
Yep. So Thank you for that. I will try to explain it as I understand it, and county attorney can correct me, or Director Kern can correct me. Basically, sidewalks that are on private property are the responsibility of the landowner. Sidewalks that are in the right-of-way are the responsibility of metro government to maintain. Is that a clear and concise description?
Would you like to add anything?
Yes, and Holly Hopkins, Jefferson County Attorney's Office, and Ann Corson with our office did the legislative history sort of research on this. Back in 2010, there was an ordinance that was repealed. That ordinance put the burden for repairing, when we say maintenance, that's why I stood up, repairing sidewalks on the property owner, not on metro government. That was repealed so that metro government would be responsible for repairing sidewalks. But there was this little piece in a separate ordinance that would suggest that that responsibility still rested with the property owner. And that's the piece that's being taken out today. Ever since the 2010 ordinance was passed, Public Works has not charged or cited an individual for not taking care of cracked sidewalks in front of their house that are in the public right-of-way. But there's this hanging chad in the ordinance, this other ordinance, that we're striking out. Property owner is still responsible for, I'm going to say, snow removal, routine maintenance in the public right-of-way. And that's what this clarification does. It takes away that maintenance part. You don't have to go fix the cracks. That's Public Works. But snow removal, the property owner is responsible for, in general, routine maintenance. And then the property owner is responsible for sidewalks on their own property. Anything, Ann, you want to add to that?
You said it much better than I did. Thank you.
No, I just used more words.
Do you have any questions on this?
Just a comment.
Let me get to Councilman Herndon, then we'll come to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Kern, we had recently discussed sidewalks that are, well, strips of concrete that are used as sidewalks that happen to be next to private parking lots, or also used as pull-ins. Does this address that, what we've discussed for at all, or is that something else we need to address in another way?
This is separate. So
Okay.
what's in question is there's a separate ordinance that I believe is KRS. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but citing that commercial entrances within the right-of-way, and for example, if you have a driveway apron and you would be walking on the sidewalk, then you would be walking across a driveway apron, and then you would be back on a sidewalk. That section of that driveway is not something that we replace. So we don't have, and I think one of the locations specifically in question accesses a commercial parking lot. Cars can park there. There's also access for a private dumpster, so you would have heavy vehicles accessing that driveway. So that driveway apron is the responsibility of the owner. This would not change that
And changing that
responsibility.
apron was a word I couldn't remember. So this is a KRS. This would have to be a state law. Is that clarified? I know.
I believe it was KRS, but I can get you the
Okay.
exact.
I'd like to know.
Item.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that because I didn't think this would cover it, but I did want to mention that for future reference. That this is not unique to the CBD, or it's more common in these areas with the big parking lots. And they are, as we discussed, they are uniformly in bad shape for this reason, and they're trip hazards. They are technically sidewalks, but also the aprons, and there's a consistent trip hazard on these particular strips of concrete. So, thank you.
Vice Chair Parrish-Wright.
Thank you. I appreciate that clarity, Councilman Herndon. My question is around there's been a special situation, I believe it was out by Popular Lover Road, where you all did repair something that was supposed to be the responsibility of the owners. I just want to know, are there caveats for those special situations? Thinking about the seniors, the people who are in, some people who are in jeopardy of having a whole lot of issues because of the standing of their property. Is there a way, if it's a special case-by-case situation, that you will work with a homeowner in specific, or someone that is responsible in certain ways? I'm just saying it seemed like there was a caveat made for that situation. Is that available for the greater community?
I am not personally familiar with the situation you're referencing. I'm happy to look into it. I can tell you that there are occasions where a driveway apron would be within a larger project. For example, on East Market right now, we're replacing sidewalks. There are driveway aprons that have to be replaced in the context of that overall project so that all of that lines up. So in situations like that for Public Works and even on KYTC projects, driveway aprons would be replaced in kind, but that would be a much different situation.
Okay, and I don't have all the details, but from what I've read before, it was out popular level. It was at a business, and it had been damaged for a very long time. People complained about it for a very long time, and it was really the responsibility of the owner. But I saw a note from you all that for this special situation, you did repair it, and there was an article about it. But I don't remember all the details if I find it. But I just want to make sure that those kind of things, there's a caveat that people can, or avenue that people can go to figure that out.
And we're happy to look at if there are extenuating circumstances or other things that come into play. You know, we have driveway aprons that occur near maybe drainage that we're improving or other issues that we might be repairing where that might have to be replaced at the same time.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Chair will note that we've been joined online by Councilwoman Donna Purvis. Any other discussion on this? Councilwoman Chapel? I'm signed into the queue, sorry.
It's okay, thank you. You know, this is an interesting conversation because I was trying to get my retaining wall replaced earlier this year, and all of my quotes came back pretty similarly, but there was one guy who just astronomical 3 times more than anyone else, and he said that I had to fix the sidewalks, and I was like, I don't think so, buddy. Do you kind of like know about this stuff, but don't take my word for it. Anyways, I appreciate Councilman Herndon kind of explaining the difference or I guess the prevalence especially about these sidewalks, because I don't think that there's something that I really come across in my district. Do we have any idea or a map of how many, I guess, linear feet, or I don't know what you would measure a sidewalk in, of these private versus public sidewalks?
So it would depend upon the classification of private sidewalk that you would be looking for. So do you mean so that like a driveway apron versus the sidewalk, or do you mean just private sidewalks? Because there could be, you know, people have sidewalks that go from their driveway to their front door. There are sidewalks that are required for, say, ADA access to businesses that are internal, different things like that. So I don't know that there would be a quick way to do it, but we'd want to dial in exactly what the definition of that is.
And so like when I go to, I think Lowe's, they have that one sidewalk that goes like from the street all the way to the building, and it's right in the middle. Is that considered a private sidewalk?
That is
And that's what we're
a
talking about.
private sidewalk because it is on their property. Those connections from the right-of-way to a building entrance are also a land development code requirement.
And I'm just curious, what is the penalty for someone who does not keep it clear? Do they get cited by code enforcement?
It would depend upon the nature of it. I mean, we always would want someone to just correct the situation. We don't want to go out and just cite someone if we don't absolutely have to. But typically, if there was something on the sidewalk that we could ask a business owner to move. Our inspectors within our permits department, for example, with outdoor dining, we do have an outdoor dining guide, so helping business owners understand where you can and you can't put things so that you can maintain ADA access along the walking pathway.
And so if it was a cracked road and, you know, nothing's blocking it, but it's just not ADA compliant, what happens in that situation?
So if it was not ADA compliant because of a physical problem, so the sidewalk has shifted, there's a gap, there's a crack in it, that is something that we would collect through 311. It would become part of our sidewalk repair program. If it was clearance where a property owner had put something over a sidewalk and there's a minimum width we need to maintain on a public walk, we would ask them to move it out of the way or correct it as best they could.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions or comments? This is an ordinance requiring a voice vote? No. Nope. Roll call vote. Open the voting. Put me down to yes. I don't have I'm not signed in.
Committee Member Purvis.
Did you get me?
No.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, you can't take a thumb?
Chair Hudson, you have 7 yes votes.
That'll go to consent. Last item on the agenda we have today is presentation by Solid Waste Management. I have on the agenda here Commissioner Kern, but I have a feeling Commissioner Kern is not going to be the presenter.
She's there for support.
So Shannon Logan, our Assistant Director with Solid Waste Management Services, will be leading the presentation today, and I'm here to support.
Thank you. You have the floor, sir.
Shannon Logan, Assistant Director of Public Works, Solid Waste Management Services. This presentation will give some updates of some things that we got going on at SWIMS. Currently, this is our new org chart. Essentially, we have 3 subdivisions at SWIMS. One would be the clean division, where we have our enforcement, education and compliance, unstaffed recycling centers, and household hazardous waste facilities. The other subdivision will be special contracts. This will be large item by appointment, street sweeping, alley action. It will also be waste reduction center, CBD, as well as special events like marathons and festival cleanup. And our last subdivision will be your municipal solid waste collection, where you get your curbside, yard waste, garbage, and recycling. So let's talk about a few things that's new at SWIMS. We have established an all-in on clean task force. The goal of this task force is to create year-round energy and enthusiasm around, focus around the clean city. This is a mayor's task force, and it will be housed in Solid Waste Management Services. The goal is to increase operational capacity, consistency through collaboration with sister agencies, and improve education to drive a cleaner city. Also, we started secure loads, I believe it was January, changed the ordinance to help us with litter, which all goes to all in on clean, right? Some of these loads that are being hauled are not covered. To date, we have 28 citations for unsecure loads. We have also impounded 31 vehicles for illegal dumping. This is illegal dumping actually at an unstaffed recycling center. This is the vehicle, this is what they dumped, and this is when we impounded it. So I believe this was at Hikes Lane Unstaffed Recycling Center. We also have a partnership with Kentucky Transportation Cabinet to improve the cleanliness of highways. We created this dashboard to allow KYTC to see some of the things that we have noticed. We have a new position of construction operations specialist who spends his time in collaboration with KYTC to identify these situations and try to get them rectified. Currently, we are working on cameras at unstaffed recycling centers, again, to deter illegal dumping. This is from earlier today at Whips Mill. This would be the entrance. This is where you would dump. Actually, yesterday, we did some site visits with a vendor to other unstaffed recycling centers. So we're gonna install cameras at the ones that are historically high in illegal dumping and then expand after that. Clean Collaborative update, doing pretty good this year. We've cleaned 3,400 curb miles and 9,000 bags. So it's still a fantastic program. One of our most popular programs is pop-up drop-off. The next drop-off is September the 27th. To date, we have serviced 1,984 residents, recovered our recycled 167,000 pounds of material, and our diversion rate is 49.2%, which is pretty good. We also are looking into adding what we would call rescuers at these collection points, which would allow, say, electronic shop that repairs TVs, he can rescue the TVs before they go to the dump. So we're working on that too. Education-wise, we have a new team member. She's a Environmental Education Leadership Corps member. She will be housed in SWIMS for 1 year. She will work with the education team to increase our visibility at community groups, do door-to-door conversations with educational residents and table events. Also coming up for education, we have clothing swap and a repair fair. One of the biggest things going right now at Solid Waste Management Services is the technology we have been using. We've spent years so far behind in not doing the technology, but we have installed some things and it is working. So previously we discussed Routeware, which allows for service validation, turn-by-turn navigation for new drivers. It will allow us to notate broken cards, locations where the service was not out, and also allow us to be able to save time without having to go back to locations where there was nothing out. The next step the newest step in Routeware, we have added street sweeping. So the street sweeping portal will allow us to take pictures of signage, which we have a lot of feedback about not seeing signage on street sweeping day. So this will allow us to take pictures when it's signed, put it in the portal, as well as it will show you the passes on the street. Green is when it's complete. Blue means it's one pass. I know it's kind of hard to see. So that was the next thing we added in Routeware, and we plan to continue to add subdivisions into Routeware. We just recently had a KPI with Routeware, and we're looking pretty good. Our completion rate for curbside residential was like 58%. Some of it we can fix by getting the system to acknowledge alleys. We have a lot of alleys in Louisville, so most of our services may be 85% alleys. It's hard for the software program to recognize that the vehicle is in the alley, so we're working on that part, which would drive up our completion rate. Right now, we're sitting probably about average with sister cities our size on the completion rate that use Routeware. The next phase will begin on the 19th. We will be installing cameras in our vehicles to assist with service validation as well as incident reporting. So that we start that on the 19th. 30 vehicles will receive cameras, one inside the cab, one on each side of the vehicle. And the next service to be added to route where will be the alley action team. This technology is Samsara. It's more safety-based. So this is to help drive down the complacency of our drivers, improve their skill set. This is the view from the front-facing camera, and this is the in-cab view. The camera allows you to see them, view them inside, as well as you can notify them, you could talk to them when they're not, operating safely. It'll notify you of speeding, distracted driving, seat belts, picking up your phone, drowsiness, things that after years and years of driving, people become complacent with. And the goal is to help people self-correct and drive this down, and we've been doing pretty good. So here you see what it would look like for notification. So he has his phone in his hand. So we would get an alert in the safety inbox. It would be reviewed by his frontline supervisor, and it would either be a coaching, dismissed if it was recognized incorrectly, or recognized if somebody did something correctly. So it's not just about punishment, it's more to improve skill sets and make people realize what they're actually doing instead of just being so comfortable. So this is our results for distracted driving. As you can see, when we first started, mobile cell phone usage was almost through the roof. And over these last 3 months, you can see it go down and slightly go back up, but I think we're trending in a good path, keeping it low. We're always gonna have some spikes a little bit, but I think it's been worth the while. This will be the next step of Samsara, a trial program for a 360 camera in our automated side loads and our front load trucks. Now these vehicles have more blind spots and they don't have helpers with them, so they have more potential to have accidents. But this camera will give you a view from every angle of the truck. We don't have the set date to start yet, but we're working on that, and we hope that have the same effect as everything else, just help drive down accidents and incidents, make our operators more safe, and be safe in the community. And that's all I had, and I'll take any questions.
All right, well, not so much a question, just a recognition that the pop-up drop-offs, it's not often we get unsolicited positive comments from our constituency about things. But speaking from my office, the most frequent unsolicited positive comment I get is the pop-up drop-offs.
I would agree. Yeah, pop-up
Phenomenally
drop-offs.
successful.
It is.
We gotta find a way to scale those up.
Right. We're working
So
on it.
thank you for doing that.
No problem.
Do we have any other comments, questions? Councilman Benson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I noticed on there, recycling. Are you familiar with Fire Station, I think it's 4 on Route Road? There's
Yes, sir.
7 dumpsters or containers for recycling.
Yes, sir.
I have several people all the time wanting them moved because of debris and people dumping. And you had mentioned that cameras, we've been asking if we could get a camera. I went out there and was just watching, and there was a guy pulled up, and he had some cardboard boxes, and he was breaking them down. And I said, "Do you live around here?" He said, "I live in Spencer County." I said, "Well, I'm glad you're not throwing it on the road."
Right.
Because that's a lot of times where people put litter. If they haven't got a place to put it, they're gonna put it someplace, and it's not in their yard. And so, I don't know what to do, if a camera, or if we could have 8, I think you all dump them or empty them, way I understand, 3 times a week.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's a lot of people doing recycling. I don't know what all's in there. And so if we are having some things that really is not, should be recycled in those containers, if we have a camera and we could start monitoring, find out where these people are and who's maybe dumping things that's not supposed to, or if we can see that we could use more containers, or, because I don't really know, a woman wants to move somewhere, but I don't know where you could put 7 containers right now. And so it really does serve quite a few people. If you have 7 containers that you're dumping 3 times a week, and this woman thinks it's very unsightly, and at times I think it can be. But again, it's a camera. If you all would check into that and see if we can see what we could do, we've had to buy a road in Oldham County, and it's kind of cost us to lose a lot of money to be able to help out. But if we can help out, we don't mind. The goal is to make, the place better and more suitable for everybody to take care of their stuff they want to recycle or not. And so I appreciate it.
So yes, the camera system will allow us not only to see people actually using the dumpsters, but it would actually zoom in on their license plate as well. So if what we tend to see is a lot of people dump things in the recycling dumpsters that do not belong. We will be adding signage to let them know that a citation can happen for illegal dumping at unstaffed recycling centers. So it's all part of the plan, and hopefully it cleans up all these illegal dumping at unstaffed recycling centers.
That would be important. Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
Councilman Bratcher.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The dichotomy of performance in public works of the road situation and swims is very striking. I'm still on a slow burn about Cedar Creek Road. I was told info that I spread around I came from Public Works office. I spread it around and none of it was true. And it's just very, very disappointing. But then I see this swims, and everything about swims I've been so impressed with. Everything from the drop-offs to taking to the litter pickup. It's everything about the whole garbage collection and whatnot is perfect. There was some problems with waste management. I know that's not the city, but they have really came around in the Fern Creek area, and I never get complaints about that. All I get from Public Works is the road situation. It seems like every day there's a new problem, and I just hope maybe one side could look at the other side and see what they're doing right and improve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Parrish-Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank you. That was a great presentation, and from the org chart to how you broke down the technology. I personally struggle with the over-reliance on surveillance, but in this case, I understand to improve the skills, and I appreciate you stating that it's not just for punitive measures, it's also to let your teams know when they're doing something right. My questions are more around and it was very top-heavy with managers and supervisors in your org chart. I want to know how many employees you have total and how many are actually out there on the streets doing the work versus the management side that you showed us.
So frontline workers, the number is around 295.
Okay.
Every day, so yeah, it's around 295.
And for supervision, how many people would be under a specific supervisor generally?
On average, 20 to 30
Okay.
max. Yeah.
And then even with the surveillance, still need to be follow-ups, sometimes technology fails us.
Absolutely.
So I imagine you have some stuff in place for that.
Correct.
I'm just really impressed with the presentation. I appreciate that and really want to commend you all's commitment on improving this department and look forward to working with you all. I would like, if there's something public-facing that we can share, I know that the public can't access all that databases all the different things that you showed us, but if we could have something that we can share with our constituents in our newsletters to show them how to know. I said this before when we talked about, folks want to know what's the schedule. You can post the schedule, and I know you all do for street cleaning or snow removal, but people will still call our offices and ask us, are you coming? So something that even if we can tap in, and if there's any public-facing information to share that.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Councilwoman Chapel.
Hello, thank you so much for your presentation, and I will echo everything here. Every time that we have an issue with solid waste or someone's collection got missed, you guys are right out there to get it. So we really, really appreciate that. That's people's city services at work for them, so we really appreciate it.
Thank
I do have 3 questions. The first off has to do with public trash cans. So there's about $4,000 that's been sitting in a pot for us to get trash cans in my district along Hickory Street. I think that there's 3 emails that have gone unanswered in us trying to get these trash cans. We also have trash can locations and budgets funded for trash cans in our Bob locations, most notably in our last one along 4th Street. Those emails have also gone unanswered. And so I'm wondering, what does the process look like for getting a public trash can? And has Public Works or Solid Waste Management created that list of all of the publicly maintained in the public right-of-way trash cans that there are around the city? Because I don't think that that existed a year ago. So I know that that's something that you all were working on, but, you know, that process, what does it look like, and how is it easier for us to get trash cans in our district?
Okay, so the first question about your trash cans on Hickory, if you could send me that information, we'll make sure we get that taken care of. That, and if you have the funding, we can work and let you know which cans you want and your locations. Locations have to be, we have to do a site visit by engineering and also operationally. So it kind of pushes it back a little bit. As far as the list for overall, we're still compiling that list. There's quite a few of little bags that we got to get in order, but we're working on that.
Sure. It's kind of concerning to me because I know nobody can see this, but this is it looks like a tree for all intents and purposes.
Right.
But there is a trash can in this picture.
And we cleaned that one up as soon as you sent it to us.
Thank you. But I don't feel like it should ever get to this point.
It absolutely shouldn't, right? And some of it is location placement, right? Some of it, that's why we do site visits operationally, to make sure that it's not in a place that our drivers and our operation team won't notice it.
Sure. And every time we submit the requests, we always make sure, you know, are they in a concrete pad? Are the
Right.
dimensions right? Is it on a trash pickup route? We know the guidelines, and so when we submit it to you, we've already done our homework, which I know that you all have to do yours, but it would be really great to just receive a response.
I understand.
Next, since you brought up street cleaning, I know that people appreciate the new orange signs. Those are a little bit more visible. But I had recently sent, and I don't know, Mr. Logan, if you were copied on these emails, but the last 2 times that my street has been swept, yes, the signs have gone up about 24 hours in advance, and I know that that was an issue before, but the street sweeping alerts, I've signed up for texts, I've signed up for emails, and you know, I got the email a week before, but then the day of, both times, as the street sweeper is going down my street, I've gotten the text alert. And then the last time I got an email alert. And it was just really unfortunate because when I had messaged some folks about it, and I had also offered some suggestions on language, because the email that I had received, and this was at 7:42 the morning of street sweeping, your weekly alert was sent last Thursday, August 14th. We apologize. This daily alert was not sent yesterday, August 19th, 2025. No parking signs were posted yesterday. Vehicles must be moved for the street sweeping. Thank you. Nowhere in this does it say that today and the date, Wednesday, you know, I think it was Wednesday, August 20th or whatever, that is the day. That email says 2 dates, but it never says the actual date that it's getting swept. And at this point, I believe it had already gone down my street. So I'm getting the email after my street's already been swept. And when I had said this, the response that I got, we acknowledge that there are occasional issues with our alert system, which may result in notifications not being delivered as intended. But as someone that's had to run outside in my pajamas the last 2 times that there's been a street sweeping, I don't appreciate it. And so I would just love to ask publicly for you all to improve that system. And it doesn't sound like a technical error, it sounds like a human error, and I really hope that you all are improving that.
We are working on it. I remember that specifically, and we have some plans in place to make sure it won't happen again.
Thank you.
No problem.
And then my last question, I know that you all had a pretty sizable fire this past weekend at your facility over on Merriweather. Could you speak to that and how it's impacted, if at all, your operations?
Didn't impact operations at all. WRC opened today at regular scheduled time.
What was the cause of the fire?
We do not know the cause of the fire. When I spoke to LFD on Saturday night, said there's no way we could tell what happened. The power was too large and it was too spread. But they put it out maybe 11:30 Saturday night. Our team came in yesterday, hauled everything out. WRC opened this morning at regular scheduled time.
Thank you.
Anything else? Councilman Herndon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for coming. You may have answered this question while I was self-distracting or writing myself notes. So when you impound vehicles for illegal dumping,
Yes, sir.
what happens on subsequent violations? Is there a certain point, like with street racing, where they just take the vehicle?
No, sir, but the fine increases
But
for a
you
repeat
You
offender.
don't take it?
But we don't have that. That's not in the ordinance for us to be allowed
Any
to take.
desire to do that, perhaps?
We can talk about it.
I mean, just as asking, but
Yeah.
I do know that with the street racing thing that they talk about crushing them, I don't want to crush a perfectly good vehicle with somebody. There are lots of folks out there who need cars,
Right.
and could use them.
We can have conversations about it.
Yeah, just a thought. I mean, I just think it's if we could set up a lottery system rather than selling them or crushing them, that we could, be able to give some folks some transportation they might not otherwise have.
Okay.
I know some people can afford to keep a car, but they can't get a
Right.
car. So that, it's just a little thing, but just something like that. Teach a lesson and also help somebody out.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Anybody else in the queue? Who's in the queue? Oh, okay. All right. I was going to ask if we could get any video coverage from all of the cameras that you have on your trucks of Councilwoman Chapel running out in her pajamas. Well, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you for having us.
Very informative and helpful. And with no other questions or concerns, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.